Alright, the Kel Tec PR-5.7 pistol. In this video we are going to do a disassembly, and I also show you how to load the stripper clips, or how I do it. Okay, but before we get into it, please subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment, and if you could, become a member. Thank you. Loading the stripper clips. You have your bottom here. You slide your movable little top plate all the way, and then what I do, this is kind of just something I had to fool with, I just kind of drop them in there. You want the body of the case to go on the depression, and you throw them kind of in there like this and line them up, which is fairly easy to do until you get to the last two or three. Actually, they sell kits where they have 4 or 5 of these strippers. Somebody mentioned something that another company is going to try to make something else or something, I don't know. Alright, so now then when we get to the bottom, you got to kind of get it in there, push it down, and go through the little slot there. And the last one's always the one that's a pain right in the ass. Is you got to kind of depress it and get it where you snap it in there. So these are a little pain in the butt also to get loaded, and I'm going to put them two back into the box. Okay, that's how I load the stripper clips. Now, one thing I didn't mention is there is a little open space here where you can look down into the barrel and you would see the brass or whatever if the chamber was loaded. That's your loaded chamber indicator. But the instructions tell you to take the gun, check the weapon, make sure it is clear, and then our only other device, release the slide. Now, this firearm disassembles in a very strange way. What you do is you push the trigger forward, and this disengages. I'll do it this way. This disengages the whole slide assembly, and it comes off much like that. Okay, so you have your basic lower half here, and I did leave the hammer cocked, so that's how the instructions say. Pull it back, and you half cock the hammer and release it, push the trigger forward, and if you look inside there, when you push down, you see what's moving. That locks into that rounded notch behind the spring. Okay? And there's your 2 recoil springs. Now all you have to do with these is push them a little forward, and they come out as a captive unit. Okay? When they're protruding, that's the ones that go through the slide and go, let me zoom in. And take a look at how this is. This is the rotating barrel and locking block. So when you reassemble this, you want this forward and this way. This thing here. And them 2 nubs at the end actually lock into these 2 rounded edges, or this little straight edge right here. I thought it locked into that. It does not. That is the part, that's what locks this breech, or whatever this part is called, into the frame. And this is how the barrel kind of, or when it recoils, this is how it moves. That's locked into the frame. So when you fire it, it comes forward, unlocks the barrel. Also, this part will just fall out. There's nothing to hold it in. It just, gravity holds it in. Gravity holds it into there. All right. And then you can just remove the barrel. It's a little tricky. Drop it down, pull it out of there because of these lugs on the front, which I believe lock into the slide. And that's what I guess stabilizes it. So when that rotates around, it comes back and starts to rotate. That's what, like a bushing. Instead of a bushing, you have this stuff that locks in the front. And that's your barrel. Pretty simple. Now, the reason I said in the other video, when you have the slide pulled back, not to push forward on the trigger, you can do it inadvertently like I did. This unlocks the gun with the slide back. And what happened to me was, once that happened, this barrel got shoved so far up into the slide it was binding, and I couldn't get it back and couldn't get it back into the locked position. So it jammed the gun. Try not to do that. So, yeah, this thing. Okay. Now we're going to reassemble the gun. And this can be a fun part too. Alright, so just take your barrel and get it, in the... See, that's where I believe somehow this... Okay, just get it in there like that. Alright? And then take your part, and you want the notch and all that other fun stuff in the back here. And then push this to where it is located like that. You don't want it here or there. You want it in this position, just like it is. Then we take our springs, put the two little prongs in there, set this down on top, then push them forward until they lock in front of those two little notches like that, and make sure that that rounded groove is there. And now nothing will fall out. Okay? So pull the camera back and get it back together. Alright, to reassemble the gun, we take our slide and start to pull it back. Now, you have to depress the slide stop while you're doing this. Depress the slide stop and pull the slide back until you lock it in place. Now, push the trigger forward, and you hear that click, and you're done. Okay, as you can see, with my disability, it's a little tricky and a bit problematic. But that is how you disassemble and assemble the gun. Now, one thing before we go into the shooting part of it, the thing about having a non-detachable magazine is if you get some sort of a jam, or double feed or misfeed, you will have to pull back on this slide and push this slide stop up. And it could be it's more difficult to clear the jams without being able to remove the magazine. You may have to push cartridges back down into the mag. You may have something stuck up in the chamber. And yes, one complaint, this slide stop here does have somewhat of a sharp edge on it. Not terrible, but it is a sharp edge and it will hurt your fingers, so be careful with it. Alright, that's assembly, disassembly. Now we're going to go to the range.